As is tradition, the Cleveland Browns enter another season with question marks at quarterback. Although it seems like Johnny Manziel put his Johnny Fireball days behind him and is back to being Johnny Football. We all know the story of how he spent 10 weeks at a rehab center during the offseason. He's not in college anymore, and it took him a full season to realize that. If he truly wants to be one of the greats, he needs to put that lifestyle behind him and get to work. He went and addressed his problems, and the message is encouraging to the Browns organization. Last year, partying was more important than football. Now, it's all about football. Manziel came into training camp as the number 2 guy behind Josh McCown, but Browns general manager Ray Farmer has made it clear that the Browns will exercise patience with him. But the 2 games that Manziel did play last season, oh boy, he looked overwhelmed. He produced just 3 points in 6 quarters of action. It's a shame the Browns, don't have a proven quarterback or a go-to running back because their offensive line needs to get noticed. I mean, I know Dallas gets all the pub and all the notoriety, but Cleveland's, honestly, every bit as good. I'd take Joe Thomas over Tyron Smith. Zach Martin got all the recognition at guard, but Joel Bitonio was outstanding too, and some argue was the better of the 2. Alex Mack and Travis Frederick are pretty much on equal footing, while John Greco and Mitchell Schwartz are very underrated. As for the team, at 6-3, the Browns got off to their best start in 20 years and were in first place in early November after a 24-3 beatdown in Cincinnati. But Cleveland lost its final 5 games and were the lone team in the AFC North to not make the playoffs. Obviously, poor quarterback play was a contributor, but the run defense was woeful, the worst in the league, in fact, allowing 141.6 yards per game. This led the Browns to drafting mammoth nose tackle Danny Shelton in the first round of the NFL draft. They also trimmed some fat, literally, cutting Phil Taylor before the 75-man cutdown and letting Atiba Rubin take his career elsewhere as well. Cleveland also brought in free agent Randy Starks and will be getting Armonty Bryant, who was on the cusp of a breakout season last year, back from injury. The Browns were also 27th in sacks per play, so it's kind of amazing without generating much pressure and having a run defense that couldn't stop a nosebleed that they finished 9th in points allowed. Mike Pettin will attempt to make it through another season as head coach, and if he's still the head man going into next year, he'd be the longest surviving head coach since Romeo Crennel, who coached the Browns from 2005 to 2008. That's pretty crazy. Kyle Shanahan decided that Cleveland wasn't the place for him as offensive coordinator, so there are some question marks on the offensive coaching staff. Offensive coordinator John DeFilippo has never called plays before, and quarterbacks coach Kevin O'Connell has never coached before. So, question marks there. We'll see what they can do in their first seasons. All right, before I go position by position, make sure you check out my rankings below. I've got all the unit rankings, all the players ranked, got numbers besides them, so make sure you click on that description box below. All right, so who will be the starter, for the Browns at quarterback? Obviously, it looks like Josh McCown will take the reins early, but will Manziel take over at some point during the season? I'm not going to lie, Manziel has a ways to go from the scrambling and freewheeling game he played in College Station to the pro style of the NFL, but we're also talking about McCown here. Everybody knew 2013 was a fluke. We all knew he'd fail in Tampa Bay. There's no reason why Manziel can't supplant him. McCown was 1-10 with the Bucs last year and 17-32 as a starter since 2002. So basically, I think they regressed at the quarterback situation. I didn't think Brian Hoyer was that bad. I know he had that stretch last year. He started off the season really, really well, on fire, and then, kind of fell off a cliff, and now he's in Houston as the Texans' starting quarterback. The backfield has a second-year guy in Isaiah Crowell and third-round rookie Duke Johnson. Terrence West was just shipped away to the Titans. He was a third-round pick last year. And, questions about immaturity, all that stuff. So he was sent away for, I believe, a 7th-round pick. That's all they got. So basically, they just wanted to get rid of him and move on. Crowell is the power downhill runner, and Johnson is best at catching passes out of the backfield. With Josh Gordon out of the picture for another season, it'll be up to a pair of free agents, Dwayne Bowe and Bryant Hartline, and a pair of holdovers, Andrew Hawkins and Taylor Gabriel, to help carry the slack. Cleveland was last in the NFL with just 12 receiving touchdowns a year ago, and Bowe didn't even reach the end zone once with the Chiefs last year. But you know what? Bowe, the reports are coming out that, he was almost cut. So, he's got to get his act together. He used to be really, really good with the Chiefs, and he's just, I don't know whether he's just lost the motivation to play. His career is gone to shit. Bowe doesn't get a lot of separation, but outmuscles defenders and fights for the ball. He also has length and a big catch radius. Hawkins led the team in receiving yards with 824, and he's a perfect slot guy, while Gabriel is more of a vertical threat. Both guys are tiny, too. Gabriel 5'8", Hawkins just 5'7", and he may not even be 5'7". He might just be listed generously. He's small enough. He might not even be able to make the cut for the roller coaster. Jordan Cameron didn't return, so somebody's going to have to make up for his production, too. A lot of guys are in play here. You got Gary Barnidge, Rob Hausler, Jim Dray, and rookie E.J. Bibbs. Joe Thomas was my top-ranked tackle, and so far in his 8 seasons, he's been named a first-team All-Pro 5 times and to the Pro Bowl each year. At 6'7", 315, he's the best pass protector in the league. He allowed just 2 sacks last season and showcases both the balance and power to protect the edge. Run blocking hasn't been a strength of Thomas's, but he made huge strides in this area a year ago, and it is the reason why he's the top dog among all the tackles. Thomas uses the patented power he has in run blocking by pushing the pile off the left side and holding the angle to allow the running back to bounce runs to the outside. I talked about Schwartz before. He's the starter at right tackle, and he's at his best in the run game using his terrific feet. Mack will attempt to pick up where he left off early in the season before suffering a season-ending broken fibula in a Week 6 win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. In his 5 games played, Mack didn't allow a sack and surrendered just 1 quarterback hurry. In the run game, he uses his athleticism to easily get to the second level, plays with very good balance. I said this before, Martin got all the praise and recognition for being in Dallas, but Bitonio's rookie campaign in Cleveland wasn't too far off. And for him to step up, take his play to another level following the injury to Mack speaks for itself, too. He allowed just 1 sack a year ago, and at 6'4", he knows how to use his length. He has great balance, uses his hands well to seal the inside gap from an opposing penetrator. Like Martin, Bitonio plays with a mean streak in the run game, and I do think he's the better of the two in terms of run blocking. He's very physical and strong on his down blocks. Greco is the starter at right guard and started some games at center when Mack was out. First-round draft pick Cam Erving was drafted as a center, which led many to believe he'll take over for Mack after the season because he's a free agent, but Erving can play all 5 offensive line positions. There's also been talk of possibly moving Schwartz over to guard and having Erving play tackle in the future. We shall see. The 6'2", 340-pounder Danny Shelton played in a 3-4 at Washington last season and was one of the most ready-to-play prospects in the draft. He's a rookie Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Randy Starks and Desmond Bryant are the starters at defensive end. Starks played in a 4-3 in Miami, but is versatile and can play all over the line. He's a solid run stuffer, gets his hands up in the passing lanes. Bryant is more of a pass rusher. Armonty Bryant is the guy I'm curious to see. He's got long arms and is an asset in pass defense. John Hughes was another guy who suffered a serious injury last year. He and Billy Wynn provide depth. Karlos Dansby's at his best in coverage. He's athletic, has a high football IQ, and diagnoses plays quickly. He changes direction on a dime and closes fast. He's equally adept in zone or man coverage. Dansby also uses that athleticism and instincts in run defense. He takes the proper angles and plays the outside runs extremely well. Christian Kirksey and Craig Robertson were fighting for the other inside linebacking spot. Honestly, I like both of them. As of right now, Kirksey is ahead of Robertson on the depth chart. Paul Kruger was solid last year as one starter at outside linebacker, although Barkevius Mingo has yet to break out and is the backup to Scott Solomon on the depth chart. Second-round rookie Nate Orchard is a name to watch out for in the future, so we'll see what he can do in his rookie season. I kind of like him a little bit. So moving on to the secondary, Let's just say Joe Haden's second half of the year was a lot better than his first 8 games. His first half of the season was wildly inconsistent, especially his first 3 games. I don't think I've ever seen him look as bad as he was in Week 1 when the Browns played Pittsburgh. Just awful. When he's on his game, Haden always seems to be around the ball, and that's evidenced by his 20 pass breakups, the last 2 seasons. Haden might be the best tackling cornerback in the league, which is remarkable considering his size, but Haden's feisty and likes to mix it up. He put up a career-high 73 tackles a year ago. He's tough in run support and an excellent open field tackler. Tramon Williams was brought in via free agency and is an upgrade as a starter over Buster Skrine, who's now with the Jets. We'll see what happens with 2014 first-rounder Justin Gilbert, who was, well, he was awful last year, outplayed by undrafted free agent Quan Williams, and honestly, I think Williams is better. Just me. Whitner's the name everybody recognizes in Cleveland. Well, that's the name everybody recognizes in Cleveland, but I love Tashaun Gipson. He suffered a season-ending knee injury in Week 12, but still finished second in the NFL with 6 interceptions. Those are your 2 starting safeties in Cleveland. Travis Kuhn will kick the field goals, while Andy Lee was traded for in the offseason coming over from San Francisco. He'll be the punter. Marlon Moore is slated to return kicks, and Travis Benjamin the punts. So, prediction time. It's still tough for me to say that the Browns are ready to take, a step towards a playoff berth or any, the quarterback situation is a mess. They don't have any running backs. I don't know about the receivers. The defense is solid. I like the defense. We'll see if they improve in the run game, but yeah, I know they went 6-3 last year, first 9 games. Obviously turned out to be a little bit of a fluke. Who knows what's going to happen with Johnny Manziel, but I'm going to say 6-10. That's my prediction. 4th in the AFC North. That's what I think. If you guys disagree with me, if you Browns fans think, the Browns have a chance to make the playoffs, let me know. Let me hear why in the comment section below. So with that being said, I'm Adrian Fecchio of the Bitter Birds. Make sure you follow us on Twitter @TheBitterBirds. I'm out of here. Later.